Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Rachel Freemon Sowers live show, the go-to place for female professionals and entrepreneurs who really want to become more bold in the expression of themselves, their truth, and their lives. Tonight's topic is going to be deep and exceptional, and let me tell you why. Because this has been on my heart ever since I started this work. As many of you know, I've been a licensed marriage family therapist for the last 18 years of my life. Yes, I know that's a while. And I'm so grateful for that. Because what it really has allowed me to do is develop my business in a way that is unlike so many other businesses, and that will really allow women in their professional lives, their business lives, and their personal lives to thrive. So make sure to say hello to me and let me know where you are joining me from. I want to be able to welcome you, and please make sure to give StreamYard access to your Facebook name or profile so that I can see you in the comments. All right, I don't know how many of you were able to read the description in the StreamYard notification or in the event. This thing that I'm talking about tonight, that suffering is optional and that we no longer need to choose whether or not we have emotional and mental health in our business or our professional life, or emotional and mental health in our personal life. It is not a choice that we have to make anymore. We actually can have both. And this was a deep reminder to me this week and over the last couple of weeks when I've met with women who are really craving a more holistic approach to their life. I've heard in the last couple of weeks, and let me know if you have heard this, or if you've even said it to yourself. I've just had an epic mom fail. I've had an epic career fail, business fail. I didn't communicate the right way. And I feel like I'm either really, really working on my professional life, my business, or I'm now depriving my personal life. And even the personal life, if you don't have children, it's yourself, like you and your partner or your significant other, whoever that is, like you're sacrificing the things in your personal life for the things in your professional life and your business. Or you then automatically swing the next way and try and compensate and say, oh, wait, now I have to go and make up for all of these things that have been missing in my personal life. And then the business or the professional life gets neglected. I'd love to hear in the comments if you have ever felt this way, because I will say to you, I have felt that way. Now, I was a single mom for a really long time, and working was survival. And I felt like I had to work because I needed the money to survive. And that absolutely affected the relationship between me and my daughter. And then over time, it was just like I got into this habit of doing that. And it really did impact the way I thought about myself. It impacted the way that I thought about my relationship with my child. It impacted the way I related to other people in relationships, and actually finding and allowing myself to be nurtured and cared for by someone else. And then my ability to do that for someone else, because I really wanted that. And I'm wondering, I just can't be the only one. I mean, am I the only one? Please let me know in the comments how you've experienced this. And so when I was talking to this woman, she's like, I feel like I'm trying to survive. And maybe it's not even surviving. Maybe you love your professional life, but there's chaos there. Maybe there's times when you're not speaking your truth in your professional life, and you're going along doing things that maybe you don't really want to do, which then affects what you're able to do in your personal life or how you respond to people in your personal life. And throughout history, and what I've been told, I'm 49 now. And before, when I was younger, it's like you don't bring your personal stuff to work and you leave your work stuff at work. And I was never able to do that. I have a brain that is wired differently. It doesn't make sense to me. I am the same person. Now, I may use different skills, and yet I couldn't manage being two different people in two different places. And I wonder if any of you have been confused, or that makes you more tired and trying to figure out how to please everyone, right? And this woman was saying, I don't want to sacrifice anymore. I don't want to have to choose. I want to find a way to do both. And she's like, what I'm really looking for is someone who can help me in the emotional parts of my personal life and my business life, as well as help me with the business part or my professional part. So maybe it looks like progressing in your profession, making it to that next level, right? Working your way up or working your way out. That can also be something too. In a business, it can look like, how do I organize these things? Because it is my truest belief that it's not me trying to fit into my business. How many of you right now are trying to fit your life into your professional life? It's my business fits in my life. And I mean my personal life, right? I am adjusting. I'm looking for ways to create more flow and more balance and more sustainability. And what it's come down for me to look like is that it's really a way of being. How do I want to be and interact in the world? And if you've hung out here very long at Rachel Freemon Sowers, this is very much the way I live my life. And this is what I teach my clients to do. So I'm wondering how many of you out there really want more flow and balance and sustainability in your life overall? Because tonight I'm going to talk about how you can stop swinging on that pendulum of one or the other, and you just can like ride in the middle. It doesn't have to be so drastic. And there's some real things, real ways that you can find more of the thing that you want. Now, if you don't want more flow, more balance and sustainability, cool, no problem. I'm wondering what you do want. So tell me in the comments, if you're watching the live or recording, what is it that you really want to be experiencing in yourself? And this is where we need to begin. So I have some notes down here. And I think it's hard. It's becoming more difficult to turn things on and off. We're constantly bombarded. And let me know if you felt this. Give me some thumbs up and some hearts if you are feeling this, or type yes in the comments. If you have felt like there needs to be a different answer. All of the traumas that we are enduring, everything is coming at us all of the time. And over these last couple of years, well, I guess a year and a half now, well, 2020, and now we're halfway through 2021, and still these micro traumas of COVID and the way we've had to operate. And if you've had a business and it's had difficulty during COVID, maybe you lost your job, maybe there's tons of things that are happening. All of these are like the micro traumas. So then we go and try to adapt. And so we go over here, and then we go over here, and then we go to this place over here, and then we go to that place over there, and we're constantly switching. So we never get to feel rest. It becomes more like a hypervigilance. And it really requires some deep intention. And you can take some small steps to this that I'm going to share in just a little bit. But it really requires some intention on your part to calm that nervous system down. So women I know are craving a holistic approach. And I'm assuming men, or at least some men, are too, because I've heard that too. And it's where we don't want to have to separate everything, but we want to be a holistic. We want to have that holistic approach. It's kind of like in medicine. If you watched the episode last week of the RFS Live Show, really talking about Ayurvedic medicine and how it is an approach to the whole entire body, the mind, the body, and the spirit all at once. And this is what I find is the most beneficial way of working with my clients. We're not leaving one part out. We're not saying don't talk about that here. Or like I have experienced even in working with other coaches is when you get to an emotional part or you have a feeling about something, they either give you the answer to try and solve it or give you a solution-focused answer, which is sometimes okay. But then I ended up not feeling very seen and heard. I ended up feeling like I had to separate let's just say I had to separate this business part from the emotional part of me when they were actually both entwined. And if you've experienced this in your professional life or in the entrepreneurial life that you may have, I'd love to hear or see a yes in the comments, because this does happen. And I've had friends, I've had clients that come to me that say, I'm looking for a person that can deal with all of these things. And when we have that holistic approach, it really begins to shift the trajectory actually of your whole life and the way that you operate in your life and in your business. And it can become a really beautiful process. And I had a client I was talking to earlier today, and she's like, I just started implementing some of these boundaries, and and we named those boundaries just beautiful boundaries, because what she was able to then start experiencing is more of that freedom. Excuse me. So I want you to know that you can have emotional and mental wellness in both your personal life, your professional life, and or your business life if you're an entrepreneur. So there are a few things that need to happen so that we don't go down that rabbit hole of despair where we experience a lot of self-doubt. One of the things that needs to happen is we need to stop taking everything on as our fault or our responsibility. So if you found yourself saying, oh, it's my fault for taking on way more responsibility, or don't worry, I'll fix it, or I'll handle that. A lot of us are like, oh, I'll handle that, right? And what we really need to do is often recognize that this can become a coping skill for feeling like we are in control. So when we recognize that taking the blame, the responsibility, and the guilt for what's going on, it doesn't equal that we're in control. But sometimes those of us who have taken that responsibility and really have been kind of this ambitious and driven and kind of take charge kind of person, we do that so that we can have this control. But that control is actually an illusion, but we just know how to deal with it within ourselves, right? Because now we're not depending on someone else. So when we take on this blame, this guilt, and the responsibility that wasn't ours to take on in the first place, then it causes us to really create a false sense of control. And then that becomes this patterned way of being, right? The second thing is that we need to create an awareness around the truth. And this is in all sides of ourself. So this is about looking at the things that really aren't working. Today, I was listening to a training, and this person was talking about looking at what's not really working. And maybe there are some things I'm doing in my business or beliefs I have about my business and my professional life and or personal life that really aren't needing to be there anymore. And when we have these types of beliefs that we're holding on to that are no longer serving us, it really prevents us from playing in this possibility. So we keep swinging on that pendulum. So that's the next thing. We need to stop riding this pendulum of good, bad, right, wrong, happy, sad, just all of these dichotomous ways of being and swinging to those extremes, right? It's either I take full responsibility or I just don't look at it at all. Or I take it and I shove it down and I say, oh, let it go. And maybe you'll even sing the song, right? So it's either a deep dive into the pool of the things that aren't helpful and try and take control, or I just totally ignore it and say I don't have time for it, maybe later. And what we need to do is stop riding that pendulum and saying there's more than one way to operate in the world. There's more than one way to be in the world. And oftentimes the ways that we are reacting or interacting in the world are due to past traumas and or pattern ways of being. Remember, I said this before. We have these neurological pattern ways of being that really have taught us on what we need to feel safe, what our bodies need to do to feel safe. So then our bodies have a reaction, which then causes a thought in our brain to say, danger, danger, right? I have to take this full control. As long as I know that it's my fault, I can continue in these patterns. So we swing on that pendulum. But when we're able to say, hey, wait, maybe this isn't the truth. Maybe we plant that seed of doubt that there is a different way. There's a possibility that something else might be able to be addressed here. We play with the possibility, or like I've said in other times, we play with the gray. And we allow ourselves to unattach and start taking apart these past neurological patterned ways of being and training our minds and our bodies to know that this is no longer serving us and that we are actually safe, and we're going to do this other thing instead. So when we start creating an awareness around these things, we then begin to tell our bodies it's okay to have this awareness. It doesn't mean anything about us. I am a very emotional person, and I am a verbal processor. So what this looks like for me is when I have emotion, a lot of other people think that there's something really wrong with me. Like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, do you need anything? How can I help you? And I appreciate that. And yet my emotions is a way of being for me and how I want to be interacting in the world. And my beliefs about that aren't always going to coincide with someone else's beliefs, especially when it comes to business. I found several times that when I become emotional, people start trying to solve the problem instead of see or hear my emotions. And when we are seen and heard, it is one of the most important things that can happen to us and for us. And this is when I see the best results. And I want you to really hear this next thing, is that even I, to this day, try and process, because in my past, I have taken on everything. This is how I used to be. I took it on everything. I used to believe that I couldn't count on anybody except myself. Like, I took everything on, which increased my anxiety, which increased my trauma response, which fried my nervous system. And then I'm here feeling like I'm stuck in this way of being that I don't like anymore. I didn't like not paying attention to my daughter when she needed me the most. I did the best I could, but I did the best I could with what I knew then. And these things weren't my fault. They were just a developed way of being. And when it's in therapy, it's often called like narrative therapy. We unattach from the story. The story is no longer us. It's a story, and we can see how we want to rewrite the end of that story. So for example, in my business, what I've really continued to explore, expand, and experience with is really the amount of time I need to be working in order to create the success I want to create. And how my neurodiversity, which would mean my ADD and my tendency to anxiety, needs to have a different pattern of working in order for me to show up for all of you and for my clients and for them to get the results. So it's really important. And so one of the things I've done is started seeing clients only every other week. And so I'm constantly playing with the gray. What does it really mean? What is really possible? And what if I saw clients every other week and showed up for them 150% and was able to still do video, because I love doing video, talk to people like you, and just in general, live the life and interact the way that I want to interact in the world. So I wanted to ask you, if you looked at these things of starting to create the feeling of flow, balance, and sustainability in your way of being. Implement the things that will allow you to feel that way, just in a way of being and interacting in the world. What would that look like? If you created an awareness around the truth about all sides of yourself, and you didn't deny looking at some parts of yourself because it doesn't feel good, but you were able to have an awareness and say, oh, hey, I see you, I hear you. Thank you for showing me there's work to be done. And I'm going to honor that, but I'm not going to dive into that right now, right? We don't have to dive into everything. What would happen, or what would it feel like and look like in your professional, your business, or your personal life if you stopped riding the pendulum? If you stopped going from here to here, back here, running back over here to try and fix all the things that maybe you forgot, because I forgot things, and then I run back over here. Wait, I need to pay attention to my wife. I need to pay attention to my dog. I need to clean my house. I need to make sure my office is clean. Oh, wait, now I need to pay attention to my clients. It's a constant back and forth. And I need more just like this. That's what I needed. And what would it take for you to recognize that taking the blame, the responsibility, and guilt for everything does not equal more control? It may feel like you have more control, but I wonder in that feeling if you can truly be empowering to yourself, or if you're asking yourself, why is it not enough? How come I keep feeling this way? I'm intelligent, ambitious, and driven. I have confidence in other areas. Why can't I be there for my family? This is what I truly desire. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe there's other things, right? And it's constantly taking on all of those things so that you're full up with everybody else's stuff and stuff that doesn't even belong to you. And what would it be like for you if you actually heard that it's a patterned way of being that we honestly almost do not consciously choose? Sometimes we do, but it's more primal than that. And when you realize these things, you're able to experience a different kind of freedom. So I got a message the other day, and this woman sent me that meme. I don't know if you've seen it. It's on Facebook, and it's about this, I think it's this heart or this brain that's carrying these big rocks of trauma, right? And it's got some big rock and this little rocks in the next frame. It's this big rocks and even more little rocks. And then in the third frame, it misses the step or something, and then everything blows up. And she wrote to me, she said, I just want to let you know that I no longer have to react this way. She said, the work that we did together really has allowed me to not have reactions. It's allowed me to be the woman that I want to be in every single part of my life and in my professional life, because we're not separate. The fact of the matter is that there's not a cut down the middle of me saying that this is the part that goes home and is in the personal life. Oh, and this is the half that's professional. Like, it's all the same. I'm the same. I'm just one woman trying to make an impact in the world. And if you are wanting to be another woman that is making this positive impact in the world, and you're struggling to do that, but you know it is what you are supposed to be doing with every freaking fiber of your being, I would love to have you reach out to me and let's just connect, because it is my mission in this world to help women make the impact that they want to make, to help women know that it doesn't mean anything about them to say, oh yeah, I felt like I could throat punch that person. It doesn't mean you're bad. It just means you felt like you could throat punch them. I mean, like we ignore and we try and be almost falsely positive. And it's nothing wrong with being positive, but there's all different sides to us, and there's all different ways to us. And to honor each one of those and create a different way of being equals the freedom that my clients get and that maybe you want all at the same time. So I hope this has been helpful to someone out there. I hope that you have been able to have a little bit of awareness and take one of these things that we talked about tonight and start implementing them right away. What would it feel like to be in flow? And what do I want to do that? Ask that wise woman within you. So I'll end this video like I end every single video, which is to make sure to stay true to yourself, be kind to others, and always, always, always honor the wise woman that is within you. I hope to see you all next week on the Rachel Freemon Sowers Live Show. I'll talk to you then. Bye.